You heard me. How embarrassing. Oh, don't mind me. I just like the acoustics in here. Here, let me go out there real quick. There we go. Much better. Oh, this. Thank you for asking. I actually just landed myself a new job. I know. Very exciting. I'm officially going to be running my own prison. Uh, don't ask how I'm qualified. I'm pretty excited, actually. There is just one issue with it. See, they told me I could run my own prison, but they didn't actually give me a prison or any money. It's actually just a plot of land out in the middle of Wyoming. But you know, I could not say no to this opportunity. So even with just a plot of land, I decided to make my dreams come true of running my very own prison.
Okay. Weird dream, but bear with me.
So that's it. This is the story of how I created the best $0 prison in Prison Architect. However, even though I may have no money, I still get to choose some aspects of the prison. So first, we're going to be choosing a large plot of land, obviously, because we're going to want to have the most space applicable. And then second, we're going to be generating forests. Now these forests are going to help us generate a little bit of extra cash, but surely it's not going to be that big of a deal. Lastly, for the warden, we're going to be choosing the botanist warden. And the reason we're choosing the botanist warden is because he doubles the export price of crops and increases seed drop chance. Now this is going to be a little surprise tool that'll help us later. And there we go. This is the start of our very humble prison. Oh, how beautiful you are going to be one day. So let's get started. Now, they suggest we have 8 whole workers, but capitalism is cruel, so we're going to half our workforce and expect them to do the work of a full workforce on half the salary. So good luck, guys. After we engage in some totally necessary staff cuts, we are going to be engaging in some other kind of cuts. Tree cuts. Lumber cuts. Okay, we're cutting down all the trees. That's it. That's all we're doing. While they're doing that, we're going to be moving on to phase 2 of the operation. Yippee! I opted to use green power, not for any sort of ethical reasons, but just because you can export it and make a little bit extra money from it. So, in the long run, it is more economically beneficial. Now, let's see how our deforestation is going. And perfect. So I was going to wait until this all be exported, but I wanted to see how much money we're actually going to make from all of this. So it's probably not going to be too much, but any sort of money is going to help in our next money making. Yeah. Okay. That's chill. Okay. That was a bit more money than I was expecting. But it's not cheating, I swear. I did technically start with $0. Man, that was a whole lot of money. Only if other companies knew how profitable deforestation was. Well, anyway, now that we have a little bit of nesting money, time to begin phase 3 of our plan. It's all just corn. Is everything just corn? Now this is exactly why we chose the botanist warden, because our main form of income is going to be from crops, specifically corn. The only issue with corn is that we have to unlock farming in bureaucracy to get that crop specifically. So let's get to building our offices and staff rooms. After we get the warden, he will research accounting and the foreman. The foreman will help us unlock farming and get that corn crop that we're looking forward to, while the accountant is going to help us track our income and is going to help us with phase 4 of the plan. No spoilers though. So real quick, welcome to Math 101 with Tabby. We are going to be explaining today why we want corn specifically as a crop. So really quick, the reason we want corn is because it has the best yield per harvest. Now, what do I mean by that? So basically, every 48 hours with the corn crop, you will get a harvest. And every crop is going to produce 5 heads. And each one of those heads sells for $5, meaning that every 48 hours after planting a corn crop, you are going to get $25. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have a field of them, that adds up quickly. However, with our botanist warden, this is actually going to get doubled, which means every 48 hours, we are going to be making a whopping $50 from one corn crop. Now we're on to building our farms actually, and we're also going to be using sprinklers, which cost a little bit of extra money having to run the water to the sprinklers to sprinkle the crops, but this is beneficial in reducing the workload on our soon-to-be many happy helming farmers. Now, we're on to one of my personal favorite phases. See, taxes suck. But since we have a very good accountant, we can take some legally ambiguous methods to reduce our taxes from 30% down to 15%, and eventually all the way down to 1%. Unrelated, but I also decided to plant this tree to see how much money I would make from it, since I made much money from trees in the beginning. But since I don't have any gardeners, this actually never got planted, so it's pretty cool, I guess. I also started to use the bio-waste from the crops to make fertilizer, which will help the crops even grow faster, meaning that they'll grow 25% faster. So instead of 48 hours, it now takes 36 hours for a corn crop to grow, which it's basically free money because we don't actually have to spend any money on the biofertilizer. So pretty great.
You must construct additional pylons.
Now we are simply going to expand our farmers, offshore bank accounts, and watch as the money rolls in like the true American dream. Because once you're at the top, life gets pretty easy. But why do I still feel so unaccomplished? Is this really the best $0 prison? No, it can be better. It's just not efficient enough. There we go. That's the issue. That's it. That's what we need. We need more corn. We need more farmers, more money, more bank accounts. We need more. We need to start producing. Think of all the corn that we can make. We need to blot out the sun with our abundance of corn. We need cornmeal, cornbread, corn flour, corn syrup, corn chowder. We need to make it all. So much corn that there will be corn caves instead of cheese caves. I am going to overrun the world with corn, just like Dole did with bananas! See, but this could be even better. See, with so many farmers and tasks, they get confused. There's so much to be done that the farmers get overwhelmed by the amount of tasks that they have to do. So they end up just standing around and doing nothing. Like, why aren't you farming the abundance of corn that we have? It's ridiculous! This means that there is precious corn being wasted. Even if we increase the number of farmers, they're not going to do anything because they're just going to keep getting more confused with the amount of tasks that they have to go through. See, that's what I even tried here. But there's just too many tasks and too many farmers that they can't figure it out! You're stupid! That's it. That's what we need to do. We need to automate our farms and rebuild from the ground up. We have so much money, it's doable at this point. We need to get rid of the farmers and replace them with machines that don't get confused by the amount of tasks that they have to do. Because machines always work perfectly, right? I'm sorry, farmers, but the truth is, progress does not always benefit the needs of man. So that's what we'll do. We will implement auto harvesters instead and auto gatherers, so the few farmers we have left just have to plant and sell corn. So how could they get confused when their jobs are just that simple? That's it. That's what we need. We need more auto harvesters, more auto gatherers. This is the solution. But why do I still feel nothing? This isn't even a prison anymore. It's all just corn. What is a prison meant to be anyway? Oh, no. It's all just corn. Is everything just corn? Is this it? Is this my prison? Even if I am just a prisoner among the corn, at least I built the walls! If you or a loved one has faced the following effects of corn consumption or corn exposure, such as itchy skin, shortness of breath, mild headaches, blood loss, fever, depression, anxiety, bleeding from the eyes, slurred speech, bleeding from the ears, difficulty sleeping, slurred speech, or inserting corn randomly in sentences, please call now as you may be entitled to financial compensation. Wait. Compensation? No, it's got me too!
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Here I stand, among my own prison of corn. Is this really the best $0 prison? Sure, it's more automated than before, but nothing changed. I was so blinded by money and greed, I didn't even stop to think what I was actually making. This wasn't what I set out to do. What was the point? What have I spent all these hours on?
Why have I spent months working on this video? It's not even good.
Were all my efforts for naught? Yes, I have more money than I ever needed. What's the point if I'm merely just a prisoner to corn and money?
Prisoner to corn and money. Prisoner to.
Wait a minute. No. It's been staring at me this whole time. Men are only prisoners of their mind. Or something like that. I think I'm taking it out of context. But how can I call this a prison if it's only in my mind? And I am the only prisoner. See, there are no walls or cells here. That's it. That's what I have actually been missing this whole time. The prisoners! It's so stupidly obvious. How could I not notice? So instead of entrapping my mind, I decided to create a real physical prison, like the one I initially set out to do. But after my journey, I couldn't create one that imposes fear or emptiness.
Like the many prisons I do make.
Instead, I wanted a prison that envisioned change and reformation above all else. One that focused on the mind rather than the body. Because even if there are those whose bodies are physically imprisoned, real prison is in our minds. Or something. I don't know. I'm trying to have a revelation here. Can you just bear with me a little bit? So, I decided to put all that corn money to good use. And I got to work. And here it is. After all these hours and time, something I could finally be proud of. A prison focused on rehabilitation, with wonderfully large cells, with doors instead of bars so they can actually come and go as they please. Outdoor seating in the canteen, a wonderful church, library with state-of-the-art computer room, a yard with all the exercise equipment you could ever need, common room where you can rest and relax, in-person visitation so you can hold the hands of those you love, beautiful scenery to refresh the mind, and more. I also made sure to enact many policies and programs to ensure rehabilitation and growth, so the prisoners will leave with more skills than they actually entered with. And it's perfect. So this is it. It was a wild, corn-filled road, but through many trials and tribulation, I can finally say with happiness and confidence that this is the best $0 prison architect. However, since I did openly admit to committing massive amounts of tax fraud, I'm now facing 5 years in prison and a $100,000 fine, so that's cool, I guess. Anyway, I hope you guys did like the video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, as it's the best way to help me out. Sorry if this video may have been a bit all over the place and may not be my best work. I wanted to try something new and experiment a little bit, so I hope you guys did like it nonetheless. Please let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I'll be seeing you next time. Alright, well, good night. God bless you all. Peace and God bless.